fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well, greetings, young Jedi. Hello there.
What's up, everyone? High Toy Reviews here with my weekly figure ranking video, and I believe, to the best of my knowledge, I have a list in front of me of all the vehicles that have come out in the Black Series. So there have been numerous over the years. Some of them are just redecos of other vehicles. Some of them are convention exclusive that then got dropped in the main line. I did a pretty good job of blending the listings for the convention and main line, since they typically have very, very few differences. And when they do have extreme differences, then I, of course, give them their own spot. I have a list of 13 unique entries here that we are going to be ranking. Worth noting is I have things on the list like Han and the Tauntaun. The Tauntaun, while being a creature, is a creature that is used for transport, so it is like loosely a vehicle, whereas things like Luke and the Wampa are not here because the Wampa is a creature, but the Wampa will not transport you places other than the afterlife. So, that is my logic on some of these. So, if we're going through this and you're like, is that kind of like on the list? Answer the question. Can you ride it? Let's go. In spot number 13, I have Enfys Nest Speeder from Solo: A Star Wars Story. So, the thing with Enfys Nest Speeder is it is actually a rather nice vehicle. Hasbro did a good job on that, getting it in the line. It comes with a very nice Enfys Nest figure, one that I think holds up to date. It's really just relevance. You see her use it in a beginning scene of the movie in the first act, and then it's kind of just parked every time you see her afterwards because she's always just on the ground. So it's like, it was kind of just heavy in the marketing material, I suppose, if you will. And so while it's cool they made it, and they did a good job on it, and they decoed it great, and I mean, they sculpted it great, I just kind of look at this list, and I'm like, wow, there's some pretty cool vehicles on here. And then I think about the ones that I want, and then I'm like, man, how did Enfys Nest Speeder get made before some of these? And I understand this Disney telling Hasbro what to do, but I just think the Speeder's a little bit of a reach. It's a cool pickup, and if you really like the character and are a fan of Solo, which I am, and I own it therefore, I do recommend picking it up. I think everything on this list is a good pickup, but the Enfys Nest Speeder, it's just a little bit of a head-scratcher. In spot number 12 is Han Solo and the Tauntaun, going all the way back to the blue line on this one. So, the thing about Han and the Tauntaun, the figure is very dated, right? I know that the Han has been refreshed in the archive. Don't care. That figure just needs redone head to toe. The articulation is absolutely trash. And the thing with the Tauntaun, the articulation is a little bit limited in a good way. It can do any pose that you want it to. If you want a Tauntaun that looks like it can run, it can do it very well. And the nice thing about having somewhat limited articulation is, you can get him in the important poses, and he's rather easy to balance. But he came out in that pre-photoreal time where, like, his eyes are white paint with a black dot. And just, he's sculpted rather well. I think the bones here are good. I think he could really do with a reissue with some modern deco applied. I think if the modern deco were applied to the Tauntaun, it would look significantly better, and I would push it further up the list. I think the Tauntaun is objectively a fine vehicle in the line. It's just, I don't know. It's more the paint than the product. In spot number 11 is Darth Maul's Sith Speeder. So, a couple years ago, Hasbro was doing some Phantom Menace anniversary stuff. Always cool. Love that movie. They said, hey, we're making a new Darth Maul figure. Let's pack him with a Sith Speeder. Alright, great logic here. And let's deco it like the 12-inch one that came out in 1999, which was not decoed accurately to the film at all. That's where you lose me, Hasbro. This is absolutely bizarre. So I love the sculpt of the vehicle. I think the sculpt of the vehicle is great. The new Maul is an excellent addition, but he was released like 2 other ways. So it's like you didn't buy this for the Maul. It's just nice that he's in the box. But I just wish it was decoed right. It feels like a carbonized or a retro deco or something. And the thing about those in figure form is usually they come after the definitive version. So it's just weird, and it kind of sucks that we're getting this, like, not canon, incorrectly decoed one as what's probably going to be our only release of this vehicle, because Hasbro's blaming us for it not selling out overnight. Spot number 10 through 7 is the same vehicle in varying decos. So, getting that out of the way, we are talking on number 10, Paploo and the Scout Trooper speeder bike. This was released on the convention exclusive Battle of Endor set that came with Endor, Han, Luke, and Leia. And then Paploo was a holdout figure that took years to be single packed on his own. And Paploo is on a speeder bike that had been in the line for a number of years at that point. The Paploo figure is a very good figure, in my opinion, as far as the Ewok figures go. I just think the other figures are better. Otherwise, this was another way to get the Scout Trooper speeder bike in a generally accessible way. This pack was not super difficult to get a hold of. It was expensive because there was 4 figures and a speeder bike in the box, but the other version had been off the shelves for years, so at least it was back, on Pulse in one way, shape, or another. It's a good vehicle. This mold has been in the line since 2014, and I don't have any reason for Hasbro to need to change it. I think they did a really good job on this one. I just think the other 3 versions have more interesting figures and or deco, so that's why Paploo is number 10. Great pickup. In spot number 9 is the Scout Trooper and the speeder bike, dating all the way back to 2014. Same speeder bike that came with Paploo, very similar deco as the one that came in that Battle of Endor pack. This set introduced the Scout Trooper. He was exclusive to this set for years, so if you wanted to army build Scout Troopers, you had a bunch of these bikes laying in the drawer. Again, great vehicle. Hasbro nailed it first attempt, and the Scout Trooper is starting to show its age a little bit, but of the figures of the era, this is one of the very best and a standout. One that Hasbro still re-releases on occasion to date, and it doesn't feel like it's terrible like a lot of those older figures do. So, I would argue this was a really well done drop for the time. I remember this being a legendary pickup back in the day. So I was super happy to have this one. And yeah, just a great addition to the line. In spot number 8 is the Remnant Scout Trooper Speeder from The Mandalorian. This was an Amazon exclusive a couple years ago, and it got very expensive. Like, the pre-orders came and went, and it pretty quickly dropped off the site. But this is basically the same as the prior Scout Trooper Speeder bike. It has the same figure and the same bike mold, but the figure has the Remnant weathering because he is wearing old and battered armor, and the Scout Trooper Speeder bike actually comes in white deco this time instead of brown, and then that white deco has some subtle weathering all over it as well. It is a very, very cool release. It comes with Grogu in the bag as an accessory, and that little thing on the ground that he was target shooting at while he was waiting, for orders, and then IG-88 rescues Grogu. It was a really, really cool pack. It was one that I picked up a couple of. I pre-ordered them back in the day, and I was glad that I only ever decided to open one because I was like, in hindsight, really didn't need these other ones, and it was an accidental investment. Don't invest in action figures to put your kids through college, but sometimes a duplicate can pay off. In spot number 7, finishing the speeder bikes, is the Shadow Scout Trooper speeder. This came in a 2-pack with a Shadow Scout Trooper and a Shadow Stormtrooper. This was a Target exclusive back in 2014, back in the blue line. And this actually was a bizarre release when it came out. Hasbro didn't announce it. People just found it at Target. And like a fart in the wind, as soon as people realized it was there, it was gone. It never went up on Target's site. I never saw it in person. I hunted as best I could as a 15-year-old who wasn't driving yet, meaning I had to ask mom and dad to take me to Target, meaning I think we went to Target once and it wasn't there and I had to hang my head in defeat. It's one that I was able to pick up on the aftermarket many, many years after for a not terrible price. Thank you, Buy Sell Trade Ashtabula. But the Shadow Scout Speeder is a very, very cool adaptation. It is from Legends, but you could argue it's not that unbelievable that the Empire would paint some of these black for stealth missions. So it's a really, really cool vehicle, one that I'm very happy to have in my collection, and one that probably not a lot of people do just because of the difficulty of getting it. Spot number 6 goes to the Phantom Menace's Battle Droid STAP Speeder. Unlike the Maul Speeder, Hasbro released this in retro packaging and decoed it in the correct coloring. This is the STAP as it appears in the Phantom Menace, and it is arguably a very cool vehicle. It's nice to get another tan battle droid in the collection, and the STAP is one of those prequel vehicles that I find very, very iconic, although to me, the most exciting thing about this is more the mold existing now rather than it being a Phantom Menace one. While I'm happy to have the Phantom Menace one on the shelf, the iconic STAP to me is the blue Clone Wars era Separatist STAP. And if they wanted to reissue this with like a Clone Wars Anakin, and like some Clone Wars movie packaging in 2028, I would be at the front of the line to buy that. I need this in blue. I need a variety of them in blue. I would like that quite a lot. Hasbro, please, if you're listening, get out the blue rattle cans, paint those tan ones that you haven't been able to sell, give them to me. In spot number 5 is the Dewback and Sand Trooper. This came out a couple years ago, and in my opinion, made for a pretty definitive Dewback right off rip. He's perfectly articulated for what he needs to be, and I really, really do love how this big lizardy ride came out. The Sand Trooper leaves a little bit to be desired. I'm not going to super critique it for having the old Stormtrooper body because it came out in the era where all Stormtroopers came out like that. I don't mind the deco on it, but of the 4 Sand Troopers, it objectively has like the worst of the weathering. They definitely stepped away from the wash. Now, in my opinion, they haven't done the wash in like 10 years. We shouldn't have been expecting it, but he just, compared to the other ones on the same body mold, the other ones are better. It's just, there's nothing wrong about saying that. But he did turn out good enough, in my opinion. It's a really, really good set. It's one that I'd like to see reissued at some point because I know he's gotten rather expensive. Maybe instead of a straight reissue, though, put in that new Sand Trooper that just came out in 2025, Hasbro. In spot number 4 is Luke Skywalker's landspeeder. I'm lumping both the versions together because there was the standard version and then there was the convention exclusive version, which had a moving part on the motor under the hood, which, is that really make or break it for you? And then I believe the convention exclusive one had like some premium fabric on the poncho for the Luke Skywalker figure, which again, like grand scheme of things, doesn't affect the overall product that much, in my opinion. This set is a pretty good one. Now, the figure leaves a bit to be desired. It is that old farm boy Luke, rough figure. It had an upgraded head. It was a little bit better than the original one, but it wasn't good. Yeah, and this one is one that you're buying for the vehicle, and the Landspeeder has been recreated very, very nicely. I like the opening hood gimmick. A lot of the vehicles have little panels you can pop off to expose, inner workings, and it's just one of those things where it's like, I didn't need it, but like, I'm glad you did it. The part of me that likes looking at things that I don't understand how work, I'm like, that's cool. Comes with a very nice, very hidden underneath of its stand. It's got some great weathering, great deco on it. Luke's Landspeeder is a phenomenal addition to the vehicle lineup. In spot number 3, I'm putting Rey's Speeder. This came out in the same batch that the Luke's Landspeeder did, and I think the Rey's Speeder is just slightly better. Now, if you're like, Luke's Speeder's better because Rey's is from the sequels, you're dumb and stupid and dumb. You're allowed to have an opinion about those movies, but I'm talking about just the objective toy of the vehicle. I think that the toy of this vehicle is better. It's got similar weathering to the Luke's Landspeeder, similar coloring, but the deco, like the big dent in the front's really good. It has a nice net just full of the junk that Rey has collected. It has an opening panel door on the side that shows you a small portion of the motor, and then you can just peel off the entire side and show you the inner workings like you're looking at one of those like blueprint books that you can buy at the school book fair. Like, this thing is absolutely nuts. And then the Rey figure that comes with it is just excellent. It has no real likeness to Daisy Ridley because the goggles are sculpted on permanently. You can take off her mouth wrap if you want. I guess it looks like Daisy Ridley's mouth. But from the neck down, it is the best Force Awakens Rey figure we have. The articulation was upgraded, made it because the prior figure couldn't get into the pose to ride this vehicle. She's just got drastically better articulation through and through. Honestly, if they took this body and just put a Daisy Ridley head sculpt on it, I'd probably be fine with that for a definitive Force Awakens Rey. But anyways, the Rey Speeder, very, very well done. I like this one a good deal. In spot number 2 is the Rebel Snowspeeder. This vehicle is excellent. It is the biggest one we've talked about so far, and that might be affecting my judgment slightly, but it is very, very well done. Similar to the last couple of vehicles, it features some removable panels to show you engine details, which are just super duper cool. It comes with Dak, who is Luke's co-pilot on Hoth, who loses his life in the battle against the AT-ATs, and is a very, very good pack-in for this. He's a character that if he was ever put in mainline, would peg warm and clearance for pennies. So it was a good idea to put him here. And then the Luke in pilot gear needs to be bought separately, but that's fine because you get a lot of value here. It has some really nice deco. I like the rope coming out the back for tripping the walkers. I love the cockpit detailing on this, how it has the charges that Luke, throws up in the underbelly of the AT-AT, and how it comes with the grapple gun. I mean, this thing is just supremely cool. I love everything about this vehicle. I think that it is a must pick up for a Black Series collector. This thing is just supremely, awesomely cool. So if you don't have it, go pick up Snowspeeder. Get it today, as my friend Shelf Life would say. Just very, very well done vehicle. Maybe bigger is better, because in spot number 1 is the First Order TIE Fighter. This is an insane release that took me a little while to pick up. You can pick it up fairly cheap today because no one really knew what to do with it when it came out. Hasbro was reaching for the stars on this one. I don't blame them for doing it. I love that it exists, but they made a vehicle so large that just most collectors didn't quite know what to do with it, were intimidated by the size of it, and just thought maybe it's best that they didn't even attempt it, which made it go on some clearance. But this vehicle is very, very well made. I love the subtle weathering. It's got some grime over all of the painted sections, over the red markings on it. The dual cockpit is super duper cool, and it's just got so many fine details, all those little solar panel ridges up and down the wings. So, so, so cool. I love this vehicle very much. And the TIE Fighter pilot that comes with it is supremely cool as well. He has the Special Forces red stripes going down his cheeks. Just an excellent, excellent figure. I mean, just good. One of the better First Order Trooper figures. I love this ship so much. So, yeah, it's just, how could it not be spot number 1? It's one of those things where if you don't have one, if you haven't seen one, make a friend that has one so you can just go and see theirs. I mean, it's just an impressively well done piece, and it deserves the awe when you look at it and you're like, holy wow, that's a big TIE Fighter, because it is, and it's really, really well done. First Order TIE Fighter has been a favorite little piece in my collection for a few years, and I think it's very deserving in the number 1 spot of the best vehicle in the Black Series, in my opinion. Yeah, size definitely mattered here. Alright, what do you think? Am I on the money? Did I miss the mark completely? Let me know in the comments below. Be cool. These are just action figure opinions. Let's have a fun discussion. Do you have any of these? Are there any of these that you are looking for, that you're on the hunt for, that you're like, nope, that, passed on it for a reason? Fire off in the comments below. Want to have some fun conversations with y'all on this one. I'm going to go work on some other videos now, so thank you all so much for coming and hanging out with me for about 15-20 minutes today. May the Force be with each and every single one of you, and I hope you all have a great day. Bye.